Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about Digimon. And the reason why I want to talk about Digimon is because recently, due to Pokemon ZA, people done got to that new Digimon game. And what's happening is it's a little small resurgence of Digimon fans and people just kind of enjoying Digimon. And of course, there are people starting to post Digimon stuff, but they're starting to post the dub version of Digimon. And here comes all of the fake dub haters. All of a sudden, it was like, "Oh my God, this is the worst dub ever. Digimon English dub sucks." No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. A lot of y'all asses didn't even know this shit was Japanese until later, and then talking about, oh, everybody. No, no, a lot of people didn't know. A lot of people did not know. I can tell you, as a child of growing up in the '90s, no, we was not familiar with Japan until literally the 2000s. Until literally the 2000s is when people start like, oh, okay, this is coming from Japan or whatever. Because a lot of times they wasn't saying it. You'd be surprised how many people literally thought a lot of the shows that was on TV at the time was American because you have American voices coming out of these characters, and our cartoons were still popular in the 80s and 90s. So, and then you blend that with anime, and you also have them on a children network at the same time as regular cartoons. Of course, people are going to think, oh, this is American stuff. But what's crazy is you know, it's the same. It's every time they do anything Digimon, especially in English, here comes all of those fake ass fans talking about, oh my God, Braveheart is better and stuff like that. That's all y'all got, Braveheart. Okay, what else? What else from Digimon do you remember besides Braveheart? Because can't nobody remember nothing else. Because I hear more music from Digimon Frontier, the black sheep of the family that everybody likes to hear. The Data Squad music. I hear Digimon season one and season two, and of course, the Digi Rap. You run around. I'm going digital. Like, come on now. Like, let's be for real right now. Let's not fake lie about it. And on top of that, I've watched Digimon in English. I watched the Japanese, and I watched I think the Latin American, and I watched the Spanish one. And you want to know, yeah, and I know a lot of y'all are like, well, why? Well, because at the time, Telemundo was very popular in the house and stuff like that. And sometimes in the morning when I would wake up, they would tell the Telemundo network because we had two of them, and one of them was the Latin American version, and then you had I guess the Spanish, the traditional Spanish channel, and they would show a lot of the animes that I was watching or cartoons that I was watching in that language, and like a dumbass, my ass sit there and watch it. You know what I'm saying? And as a person who watched of different versions, I watched the Japanese version a little bit later. I can tell you there's a lot of dead space, dead music space. And what I mean is dead music space is I've watched original Dragon Ball Z and some of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, a lot of different ones. And I come to find out that a lot of times they have a lot of dead space for music. One thing I have to give credit for the Americans is the score, the OST, which I think that's why a lot of modern anime, I'll give credit to modern anime, is that their OSTs are way better than the past OSTs for the original stuff, the original classic animes and stuff like that, because they didn't have it. They didn't really have it. They'll play a few music here and there, but their OSTs, not really. You know what I'm saying? A lot of their music wasn't memorable. Like today, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, um, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, for instance, Demon Slayer. Their OSTs and their music is way more than Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, and and I know some people gonna be like, "Wow, listen, yeah, that you do," but let's be honest, the English versions, the English music for those franchises excel over the Japanese OST. Now, I'm not saying that people don't listen to those versions, but it is what it is. It's kind of like the same as like how in Inuyasha in the Western world, they tried to play the openings for us, We fucking hated the openings, and Inuyasha said, "Okay, fine, we're not even going to do the openings anymore. In the Western world, we're just gonna let y'all have the endings." And luckily, the endings were the most beautiful things ever. You know what I'm saying? So again, it was a catch 22. And again, I'm not sitting up here saying that they were perfect, but what I don't like is sitting up here trying to pretend like, oh, the Digimon dub was so bad and stuff like that. And of course, you got people talking about, oh, you're just throwing attention that people prefer. What do they prefer? Because guess what? Nobody's really talking about Digimon like that. Pokemon still talked about it. Digimon's not. It took Pokemon to have a terrible game for the resurgence of Digimon, and then when they tried to bring back the original O one cast with Digimon Tribe, the last Kazuka movie, and with that rebooted bullshit, people didn't care because you want to know why? Because it was horrible. It was horrible, and it disrespected the lore that they had built up between season one. I mean, Adventure One and Adventure Two. I'm sorry that some of y'all don't like the O2 kids, but they've been integrated with the original cast, and it's disrespectful to do a sequel series and then ignore the O2 kids, and then at the last minute, let's bring them in. Like that doesn't make any sense. The O2 kids are now tied to the original Digidestineds. Period. Point blank. It doesn't matter. But to do shows like Digimon Tribe, the last Kazuka movie, and all that bullshit, and then to give the Digimon Adventure O2 kids a movie after the last evolution, and still, kind of bullshit them, is kind of like, oh, okay, well then what's the point? You know what I'm saying? So I always say like, hey, you have to understand back in the 90s, back in the 80s and the 90s, they were still trying to get translations correct. They were still trying to figure out how they're going to do this thing because you had one anime come out, you had a few Studio Ghibli movies come out, and then people started taking notice and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, the kids, a lot of us didn't realize we were watching Japanese material shit until the 2000s, and that's just real talk. And again, this is coming from a child who grew up in the 90s, who was around with the explosion of anime in the West, all that shit. A lot of us did not find out that shit until the 2000s, where we were like borderline going to middle school, and you're like, oh, okay, you get what I'm saying? So again, let's cut the bullshit out. Let's respect what Digimon did. The English dub did, and I hate when people try to take away the acknowledgement of the dub, and then I hate that we're in this whole dub versus sub shit kind of thing. Because yes, I understand there are some English animes that do fuck up, and I get that, and there are some activists in the entertainment that are fucking up the translation. I get that, but let's stop pretending like, oh, it's so bad. No, it's not. It's not. It is not. Now you can prefer it, but to come and say is terrible, or you're a loser for liking it, is crazy. And I hate that bullshit. That's why I hate the fact that anime became popular, because one person was like, well, in my country, that's great that in your country they decide to keep the Japanese music. That congrats. But for us, they didn't. And I'm glad they didn't, because the Digimon soundtrack is fucking amazing. Okay, the Digimon soundtrack is amazing, just like the Pokemon and soundtracks in English are amazing. Again, that doesn't take away from the Japanese stuff or whatever, but preferably it's my thing. My thing is what I hate too about this whole dub versus sub shit is that, like, okay, it Japan is since it's Japanese stuff, they're allowed to talk bad or acknowledge the flaws of the English stuff. And I'm like, oh, I mean, you just kind of have to like understand that there are certain things like, okay, I'm from America. I kind of like American stylized things. And again, I respect a lot of different cultures, and I've explored a lot of different cultures for their entertainment stuff. But sometimes I still prefer the Americanized versions of certain things. It is what it is. Like like Dragon Ball Z, of course. Dragon Ball Z is amazing in English. I don't care what none of y'all say. The music for Dragon Ball Z. GT and Dragon Ball, the American music that we did is amazing. I'm sorry. And this is a I went back and watched the shit in Japanese. I just the music just don't hit to me. I mean, besides the Don Don Goku Nagi wa no Ni, and then Chala Inshallah. Yeah, those two things are really great. But everything else is just like, and of course the legendary Bruce Faulkner, freaking amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, let's be for real. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with like Digimon. I love going digital. I'm going digital. It's all in digital. And then you got the Digimon, digital monsters. Digimon are the champions. And then you got War Digivolve too. You know, they got music for that as well and stuff like that. You run around, I run around. Like, come on now. Like let's stop acting like the Digimon, the English dub of Digimon wasn't all that wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, thank goodness the English dub came out for it because at the time it was a lot of like knockoff version shows of Pokemon that people were just like, and trust me, they tried to have a lot of that stuff stick with America, but when you don't have anything, when you don't have the right kind of voice actor, if you don't have the right kind of music, it just doesn't sit right, and it is what it is. And I understand that some of y'all like it, and there's no shame in that. But let's stop shaming people who like the dub or prefer the dub. You know what I'm saying? Because it's my native language. You know, just like Japanese people prefer Japanese stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it'd be funny. Like, okay, I'm a dubber. I like the English dub because I grew up in America, right? Why am I not allowed to like the English dub, or why when I defend it I'm the problem? You get what I'm saying? Like you can't keep constantly having this hatred towards the American dub of animes because if it wasn't for the American dub of animes, you wouldn't have what the hell you have today. You wouldn't have that popularity of anime around the world. Like I don't think the explosion of anime would have never happened if it wasn't for the foundation that happened in the 80s and the 90s. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.